Greetings, soldiers. Welcome to Poets at War. On today's episode, we are Creators and Crusaders with Jesse Marsalis and Poetry Bootcamp with Daniel Reed. For more updates on the format changes in these trenches, join the Brood Discord. JoshuaDavidLing.com/Discord. And now, Poets at War, Creators and Crusaders.
Used or misused, that right is not decayed. We make still by the law in which we're made.
Transmission recorded September 3rd, 2025.
This one better, the thumbnail better with one that I made. I'm kind of trying to start making various walls with frames and using them as templates. I think I can maybe figure out some cutout situations, but I'm playing around with some different effects to get that and whatnot. The cutout thing is just, it slows down my process. I'm trying to figure out ways around that being a slowdown. So
generally, whenever you have like super high quality thumbnails, they're usually subbing it out to people because they just don't have the time or know how to do it. Because I think in something like the frames, the real just full send it for that would be having the people not only popping out of frame but interacting with each other. That way, there's just a lot going on at the time, all at once, rather.
Yes,
but that can only be done whenever you have time for it.
Yes, I might be able to find and purchase. Like, I've been doing these in Final Cut just because it's easy for me to do that. Going in and actually taking the video, not having to take frames from the video, throwing this there, that there, making sure I have, a green screen key on the frames, whatever, and moving things around into making sense. I have all my text templates and things, and it's just very quick. But I think there might be a plugin for Final Cut that might take advantage of the fact that I have the M1 and be able to remove background automatically from like videos and stuff. If that is the case, I may end up just purchasing that. If it's like most Final Cut plugins, it's a one-time thing. So that might be a way to get that off my plate really quickly and easily, and I can do cutouts and stuff. I still like the frame concept. I think that it's worthwhile because it better communicates that this is a remote podcast, I feel like, than having people superimposed in the same room, So
right, and all in the same space makes it seem like everybody is in the same space. But with the frames, it almost gives that that Harry Potter-esque feel. Yeah, where these are different settings, these are different scenes. I think that's a clever way of doing it.
Yeah. So, what'd you say?
I look forward to the future ones.
Yep. I did one today that was an audio only, and it was a really old one. But I had to re-upload it because I had never uploaded it to YouTube, so it was just kind of weirdly in the pipeline. Let me find that one real quick. Send it to the chat. It was literally just a quick generation idea based on the title. I used to have my vlog series was not called General's Report. Like I had a more like video vlog sort of series that I called short-lived, that I called Bard Knox Life, and so that episode is called Bard Knox Life. Let me find that real quick. And I just had to do the most obvious generation that you could think of based on that title. Where did I put it? Oh, it's in PAW thumbnails. There it is. And in the chat, there you are.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be something.
So yeah, that's fun and silly and whatever, and was an audio only, so it doesn't really matter too much, just who knows, that might catch some eyes. Throw it out there. See what happens.
That's the thumbnail there.
Yep. So, but yep. So that's what's going on there. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully he'll be back in a little bit, and some other people might come in. I know Tuesdays are hard for some folk. Apparently, that's becoming more so the Bible study night, it seems, than Wednesdays. I don't know why.
Wednesday nights, our Bible study night, and for the future, if I host one at my house, it'll be Mondays, so you'll be good.
It'll be Mondays. There you go.
Unless absolutely everybody Tuesday, and then I might switch it to Tuesday. That way, anyway.
Yeah. So, do you
I will be rolling it
Go ahead.
because I will. I'll be rolling in a little bit because I have a.
You got to finish some stuff.
I'd like to get done tonight before leaving. You were saying?
Yeah. No, that's fine. I just wanted to. I was just trying to see what else, creative wise, you have at least thought about. Have you thought more about getting the album finished before the end of the year? Made any decisions on recording or anything like that?
Yes, I actually just realized. So our Bible study is starting back up, starting next Wednesday, and usually, whenever we have our Bible study over in this city rather than the other one, we usually would eat dinner beforehand. So I realized, oh well, if the family members are going to be over, I might as well just record the vocals while they're here. Spend about an hour doing so to Bible study, and I realized, oh wait, that actually is going to help because then I could probably spend at least 30 minutes recording the music. Yeah. So logistically, it works.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, that does work out.
That'll give enough time before probably mid-November. Everything will be fully recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Or before November, everything should be recorded. And I was just going to practice a bunch of it earlier today. So
hoping my steak goes well.
She just said, "Here's to hoping my steak goes well." She's worried that her pregnancy stuff is going to make her not want steak after eating it, you know. And so she doesn't want that to happen because
I've been avoiding it, even though I've wanted nothing more than a big...
Yeah, you've wanted it really bad, but you never know if it's going to go down the right way and all that stuff.
I'm one of those people with... where, like, if I eat something and then get sick after, I, like, blame it on that food and then just don't eat it for, like, forever. And
yes,
I don't want steak. I don't want to be off steak.
Well, especially because
I need to eat it.
She's been eating steak. She's got medical issues where red meat extremely helps her on the regular, and it's expensive. And when she has had the money to get steaks for herself and like do all that stuff, she feels worlds better and just can't have it all the time. So she's trying to figure all that out. So yeah. And she doesn't want to be put off it when it helps her.
Yeah,
when my sister-in-law was
peanut butter, but those things aren't particularly great for me, but still.
Right. Go ahead.
When my sister-in-law was younger, she had eaten so much, like she loved ranch, and she ate so much of it that she threw up, and she hasn't had any in like 20 years of it.
Yep.
Because it was bad at the time because she threw up.
Mm-hmm.
She loves the taste. Is repulsed by it.
Yeah, that stinks when that happens. I have the opposite, the inverse problem with spicy Korean ramen. It always hurts me.
Eating it.
And like, no, I'm done now. I'm done now.
It's not gonna be that bad this time. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're done now until next time, you mean?
Yeah, probably not. The last time is when I hit my head because on the bathroom floor and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So
you got a big old head stop.
Yes. So, but yeah, it's a great flavor, great smell, great everything. I can't deal with it. So, yeah. So, let me see here. You might like this. I'll throw these two names out. These are the current leaders in baby names. They were not. Well, she's not finding out. I will see if I can because I'm interested, but I'm not going. Like I'm gonna do what she wants, but she doesn't want to find out the gender on this one. She just wants to be surprised. But the two names that are the current front runners are Thomas Edmund and Marigold Ruth.
What's the Thomas for?
Her maiden name is Thomas, and Peter and Thomas are apostles. Edmund, obviously, Peter, you know. And then Marigold is a plant like hazel, and Ruth is pretty much pretty much locked for at least middle name, if not first name, because of the situation that we're currently in with Gene, our neighbor, and Casey's faithfulness in that. It's like a tribute to the time period and all that. Yeah. So, really important in that regard. But also the other thing that's kind of cool is Edmund is a variation of Eomund, which is related to Alfred the Great and his house. And Alfred the Great, a couple hundred years later, that whole same group of English were the ones that produced Cædmon, which is Peter's middle name, Cædmon. So, but yeah, so you know about Cædmon?
No.
You don't know about Cædmon? Okay. He was a bard. I'm gonna give you better dates, but give me just 1 second. But he was a I'll just read. It says in the 657 to 684 is what he's listed as. They don't know for sure, but they think those are the dates. Cædmon is the earliest English poet whose name is known. A Northumbrian cowherd who cared for the animals at the double monastery of, and it had two different monasteries met there. Now currently known as the White Abbey, the Abbacy of St. Hilda. He was originally ignorant of the art of song, but learned to compose one night in the course of a dream, according to the 8th century Christian historian St. Bede. He later became a zealous monk and accomplished inspirational Christian poet. He is venerated as a saint in the Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic Church, and Anglicanism, with a feast day on February the 11th. He is listed as one of the 12 Anglo-Saxon poets identified in medieval sources, and one of three of these for whom both roughly contemporary biographical information and examples of literary output have survived. We actually have some of his poems and songs, in other words. Cædmon's hymn is the most famous of those, but he basically, the story goes, he wanted to, like, back then, preaching and being a poet and being a bard was more of like one thing because of the way the Druids had done things for centuries. And so as a leader, a religious leader, they would sing and put things to verse so that people would memorize them. This was just the way their people had always done things. And so even though it's a relatively... Do what?
Bring it back.
Yeah, for real. But he basically like was a deacon and took care of all the cows and livestock and whatever else, and he wanted desperately to sing with the choir or to be a bard, someone who could write and speak, and he was trying to learn, but he was ignorant of it, had a very hard time learning it, and he didn't have the time because he was always working and stuff, and he prayed and prayed, and in a dream it is said that he was given Cædmon's hymn, which is the one of the surviving texts, and he came and sang it, and he would, but keep in mind, not everyone sang back then. They had more choirs, they had, other things and whatnot, and they had some antiphonal parts, but he was considered tone deaf, like entirely, right? And so basically he came in and sang like an opera singer after his dream, and the church declared it a miracle. Like an actual miracle.
Yeah.
And
that. Based on what I've seen, just in our congregation alone, I can say that is 100% true.
Yeah, and so he actually became a traveling preacher for a time, and then he worked as a preacher in his own area for a time, but he basically was the Christian bard of the Anglo-Saxons and is revered as that. He's the earliest English poet on record in history as far as anyone's concerned. We have not found anything earlier than him. Cædmon's hymn, translated directly to English, says, "Now we shall honor heaven, kingdom's guardian, the measurer's might and his mind's plan, the work of the Father of glory, as he of each wonder, eternal Lord, the origin established. He first created for the children of men heaven for a roof, holy creator. Then Middle Earth, mankind's guardian, eternal Lord, after bestowed the lands of men, Lord Almighty."
That's pretty baller, actually. It's a
right. I have a version of it that I wrote out that goes to the tune of the Rohirrim theme in Lord of the Rings.
my word.
Yeah. So that's why my son's middle name is Cædmon, and it's spelled with the ash, the AE symbol. It's instead of CAE, it's CASHDMON, and it's actually on his social security card as an ash for his middle name.
We have real Christian men. We can bring it back.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Cædmon's one of my heroes.
For good reason, I can see.
So, oh boy. But yeah, I love that song. It's such a cool story too, just all of that. I actually, one of my episodes with Jason Farley, if you ever want to listen to it, one of the best episodes of Poets at War I ever did. I literally just had one-on-one with him. We talked the early Celtic church, and you could probably, I think it's Jason Farley 2, but you can find that episode if you look up Poets at War, Jason Farley Celtic. And we had a ball talking about all kinds of saints, some of which I didn't know about at the time, and things of that nature. And it was just so cool hearing him talk about it, because he's all about that. He loves that stuff. He and I are more akin to Celtic believers than anything else, and I think that space is where Presbyterians meet the Anglicans, is in the Irish space, in the Celtic space. We don't really have people who think as Celtic believers anymore. It's either entirely English, entirely Anglican, or it's this sort of mainline Westminsterian thing. And it's like, man, the Celtic stuff speaks to me, even though I don't agree with all of it. Like, Patrick believed that you had to have 12 elders to start a church because there were 12 apostles, basically. Things like that. But like, it's not a bad idea, depending on what you're doing, but there was a lot of good stuff that I agree with Patrick on, and Columba and all those guys. So yeah,
I think I found the episode. It's really funny seeing a stark contrast of your beard then and your beard now.
Right. Yep. What's up, Daniel? You back?
I am. I just had to finish that up. I am good.
Good. Oh boy. You want to
Just
do
signing it all now.
another Tolkien poem while we're here? Not a long one.
Sure.
It'll be the last thing for me for now. I'd go and wrap up some stuff. I might be back later on to stop picking your brain if you're still on, though. But
yeah. Yeah, I'll get back on later if I need to with you. I have a few things to finish up too, but we'll play all that by ear, and you can always text me if you really want to. If you're not totally tired and have a million other things to do and still want to pick my brain, just shoot me. And I'm not here. Just shoot me a text, okay? All right, here we go. This one's called Theoden. From dark Dunharrow in the dim morning, with Thane and Captain rode Thangel's son. To Edoras he came, the ancient halls of the Mark Wardens mist enshrouded. Golden timbers were in gloom mantled. Farewell he bade to his free people. Hearth and high seat, and the hallowed places, where long he had feasted ere the light faded. Forth rode the king, fear behind him. Fate before him, fealty kept he. Oaths he had taken, all fulfilled them. Forth rode Theoden, 5 nights and days. East and onward rode the Eolingus, through Fold and Fenmarch and the Firian Wood. 6,000 spears to Sunlending, Munburg, the mighty under Mindoluin. Sea King's city in the South Kingdom, foe beleaguered, fire encircled. Doom drove them on, darkness took them. Horse and horsemen, hoofbeats afar, sank into silence. So the songs tell us. That was good. I like that. I don't think I'd heard that one. I like that one a lot.
What was the name of that one?
Theoden, yeah.
Theoden.
Yep.
I seem to connect better with these things if I can read them while I listen.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and just post that one in the chat real quick so you can take a look at it. But yeah, you heading out, Jesse?
For now, yes.
All right, man. We'll see you later, okay?
Always a pleasure. Catch you, Daniel.
All good. I've heard
Rhymes
worse.
with flannel.
Bye.
Is that from something?
I don't know. It should be.
That's like somebody mispronounced a main character name, and then the old like moonshiner just pops up. Rhymes with flannel.
I was kind of doing Old Man McGucket from Gravity Falls right there. So yeah.
All right, always a pleasure. Daniel,
all right, man. We'll see you in a bit.
All right. See you, Jesse.
We have transmission recording from Poetry Bootcamp, featuring Daniel Reed on Poets at War. Let's get this thing going. Connecting transmission now.
For this is the honor of fairyland and the following of the horn.
Transmission recorded September 3rd, 2025.
Yeah.
What I would think I want to do here, so I've been looking at the Maiden's Child, struggling to get started because I'm using all my writing energy for work-related stuff.
Yep.
What I want to be able to start doing is go to bed like as soon as I get home, finish all my work at work, get home, sleep, pack food for the next day, or just have it ready.
Yep.
Wake up early, like 2 to 3 hour. We'll see. We'll see how early I get.
When do you have to leave?
And get stuff done. I need to leave by, we'll say 8:25.
Okay. So how early do you feel like? Well, okay. When do you get home? Usually.
Oh shoot! No. I need to leave around 7:25. My bad.
7:25. Okay. So when do you get home usually? If you have nothing else you have to do.
Today I got home around 4, but that was because of groceries. I would have gotten around. We'll say typically it's going to be around 4 to 4:30.
Okay. So you should have no problem getting to bed by 9.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
I'm gonna have a second job here shortly. If I get any writing done, it's gonna be early morning.
Right.
Early morning before, like early. Before
what are those hours gonna look like? roughly?
I haven't gotten through the orientation yet, so we shall see. But they do know that I have another job, so it's gonna be like I'm home like 11.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just what I need to do right now financially. I definitely can't slip in a whole lot of writing. If I get a good client, a good mix of sorry.
In your situation, here's what I would do. I would begin working on writing by simply recording your ideas and thoughts into your phone while you drive.
Yeah.
If you do that, and develop a habit of doing it, you can take those and ask an AI later to organize them, not to rewrite them or anything like that, but to, put them into text and then organize what you wrote according to how you said it, as if you transcribed it, basically. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
And then when you do have time on like an off day or whatever, you can go back and like type and write and, do all that. But yeah.
I could even just leave voice memos for Aaron because co-authors and stuff is a thing.
Yeah, you can do it that way, yeah.
But
and you can listen to stuff from him, especially if he's willing to read sections aloud for you, which I think he probably would be. He likes reading aloud.
Oh yeah. I've gotten better at it. It's just my whole thing is I want to be a perfectionist. I want this to be perfect, like right now. I've gotten better at it. It's just usually I go into like editor brain all the time. Like I'm the one at going back and editing a lot of stuff Aaron's written to make sure things like make grammatical sense. And my goodness, you should just see some of our my notes on some of his paragraphs are literally just can I use profanity? Can you bleep it out? But we're not like doing profanity on the show, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. But no, it's like a writer's notes, and it's literally just like bleep what?
Right.
You get the idea. The idea. But there were several times where I just had to. It's like I get being whimsical, but why is the guy who's trying to convince Katira's father to let him marry his daughter just randomly slapping him? Or were you drunk? That does not make sense.
Oh boy.
Kind of random psychedelic stuff like that. And it's like, that doesn't work at all. Anyway.
It's better than some of the stuff I'm dealing with some of the people I read for. The AI slop is real. Yeah. The biggest frustration at this point for me currently, I won't say which one, but basically the story I'm reading is first person narrator, right? Who's in the story, doing stuff. He's the leader of a team. Occasionally, the AI will hallucinate and say that character's name. We'll say Harold. It's not Harold, but we'll just say the name Harold. So it'll be like the character saying,
sorry. It's funny that you said Harold because I'm immediately prescient kick.
Anyway, let's say Harold is leading his team, and the book goes on saying something like, "I led them down the stairwell to this place and that place, and then we opened this, and then Harold went and did this." And then it randomly will come back to first person.
No. Oh, yeah, I got
But
you.
it's still reading. But it's still reading like. But it's still reading like it's first person. it's just suddenly another person that we have no clue who it is. And then before we find out who it is, it'll go back to being Harold's voice.
That's funny.
Oh boy.
Oh, goodness. I've only managed to write. Oh goodness. It's been ages since I've gotten really truly the chance to write. Let me see how many words this even is. Words, 365 words right here. It's not a lot, but I just don't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
But I wanted to showcase Katira like operating more as a midwife, and it's kind of a delicate dance of what can I show in this case, because I don't want to like.
Who's your audience?
Young adult, or well, like new adult. So like, Aaron and I have weirdly different ideas. Whenever I think it needs to be more on the young adult side of things, like 15, 16 and up.
Right. Well, there's way worse stuff out there. I feel like, personally, an emergency involving a birth. I don't think that needs to be softened for anyone but basically like early middle school and below, personally. I understand thinking that it needs to be this, that, or the other, but as long as the subject matter is spoken of in your blurbs, you know, like the back of the book or whatever, like I don't see any problem with being medical, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to go as far as to like explicitly detail anything, and like I have a line in here about how one of the sisters steps in to cover the mother's dignity, and you just like, you know what's happening on the other side of the curtain, you just don't need to see it. Nobody does. It's their business.
But like if someone's but like if some woman's like uterus is prolapsing or something like really scary like that, you need to actually give some idea of the severity of the situation. You may not use those exact words, but there are ways to say that are more like in the world. You know what I mean?
I can think of one scene in particular later on down the line. I can think of one scene where I might have someone get maybe that clinical because some other person is trying to step into a domain that is not there.
Yeah.
I like this short little dwarven woman, the big reformed demon dude who used to be a warlord for the Shadow, now trying to earn his spot. He kind of needs to be set right, and I can just imagine there being the scene later on where this little dwarven apothecary lady is trying to set him straight, and it's like, yes, you've led men into battle, but have you dealt with a prolapsed uterus, or like detailing stuff he has no business really commentating on? That would be a
really good place for this.
Yeah, so like that kind of a thing would make sense. And it would showcase her character, it would showcase him in a really interesting way. He's just way out of his depth. Like I have this whole subplot planned out where you get Katira, a human midwife, this whimsical dwarven apothecary woman she meets named Caroline, and then Carlos. Aaron's fond of using ka, like that sound and everything. But anyway, those three going around trying to find an appropriate wet nurse for Scout, the little boy. And they just go like almost like America's Got Talent. They like interview a few women, and it gets kind of a little weird in places and silly, and several of them are just an awful fit. And
Yeah.
you get these two women who really know what they're doing, and then you get Carlos, who's this third party and totally different kind of perspective, and it's like, why am I here? And then they're just like, consider this your penance. You must sit at the tea. You must sit and drink tea and eat crumpets with us while we do our thing. And so it just paints this amazing little visual of all these women and like all these women and scholars and those kinds of people around a table sipping tea and being diplomatic and discussing things in a very clinical way. And then you get this kind of arch demon warlord on the corner, like, what am I doing here? Anyway.
Yeah, I hear you. Makes sense.
I'm getting so caught up in like stuff I want to write in the future that I'm forgetting. I gotta start. I gotta start the story and get it off the floor.
Well, like I said, doing the voice memo thing back and forth with Aaron is probably a good way to get started. That way you can do it in the most hands-free way you can, but do it in the car. Make sure you're listening to stuff, checking in with stuff, making that a habit when you're commuting and when you're going to the store and when you're doing, those sorts of things. And even like in a grocery store, you can do that, right? Like if you're just by yourself, you got headphones on, you can do that, right? And so those sorts of things will help.
There is a possibility, I'm not going to count on it though, that I get set up with a client in the evening where my primary duty is just like make sure they don't die, and I'm
that's
just
possible too,
sitting around doing nothing. So I
Mm-hmm.
could just very easily have a laptop, send a few emails out to places they need to go, write a few hundred words, email,
have one earbud in or whatever, right? And just so you're paying attention to things. Yeah, exactly. You can do that kind of a thing.
Yeah, like I really don't know what the setup is going to look like, and they know that I'm going to need a little bit of time to write notes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll work with the scheduling. We'll figure it out. And if they know I have a second job, so they know I can't do overnight, cannot do overnight, and cannot do night shift. But I need to get home around 8 or 9, preferably. If I can get home around 8 or 9, get myself showered, get myself to sleep, and then if I can go to bed around 10, I can usually wake up around. Actually, I've woken up around 5 comfortably before it gives me an hour. So it's doable. Right. This is all doable. It's just we'll have to see. Can I read you the short little bit that I got, and you tell me if it's too much of she does this thing, then this thing, then this thing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get more of my voice in there of like the things I want to. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Flowers and cobblestone blurred together. Sorry. Actually, I want to back up. I know I'm not going to keep doing the thing that I'm notorious for doing, where it's like, oh, I got to do this and this. Aaron has 4,000 words of a chapter before this in backstory that he wanted me to get to. I'm really going to distill that down, but it starts off with Katira on the docks, and this was 10 years ago. So she's a young maiden, probably about, I would say she's about 17, maybe 18. Oh no, then that would place her at 30. Give me a sec. I gotta see what I put as the time spot. Young teenager at the time. We'll work out the time stuff later. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She's on the docks sketching, and then she is seeing this man that she knows. She's been courting him kind of unofficially. He's more interested in her than she is in him, kind of thing, but she doesn't want to let him down, and so a whole mix of emotions there. But he's bartering with a merchant, trying to get her a clock because he knows she's kind of obsessed with those. Where was I going with all this? But anyway, short little backstory stuff. Open with backstory. On the docks, some romance, some tragedy, and then present day. There we go. That's how I wanted to do that. So now we're back in the present day, and we open up with Katira as a midwife. So she is effectively, what we wanted to set up was there's been a lot of men who've tried to court her, and now she's basically a nun. So anyway, so now present day, flowers and cobblestones blurred together as she ran to the well. Midwifery involves more running than you'd think. Katira's legs burned with exhaustion. Her arms ached, but she had to save this child. And then so many lives. I've lived so many lives now. Daughter, student, and now then. Katira, hurry! A maid called from the door. Katira dropped the water bucket and she was washing. Katira dropped the water bucket she was washing her mistress's garments in. Cool, red-tinged water soaked through her sandals. There shouldn't be this much blood. Her mind raced with possibilities, mostly the bad ones. She's fainted! A woman screamed from the other side of the door. Katira barely stopped herself from tripping before she pushed the door open. In a moment, she was overwhelmed by the scent of herbs, blood, and many other things she respectfully ignored. A dog was lapping something up from the floor he shouldn't. She shooed him away and retrieved a small vial. There was a small child crying in the corner. A woman was attempting to console her. Katira spun around as she passed the threshold of the door. At the end of the hallway, a curtain had been raised for the mother's privacy. Katira began walking towards the curtain quickly. Then suddenly, the screams stopped, and no cries followed. Katira fell to her knees. She slowly rose to her feet, making her way to the curtain slowly. Suddenly, a shrill cry pierced the silence. "It's a boy!" one of the sisters shouted. Katira tore past, making her way to the curtain. Katira tore past the curtain at last. Three sisters hovered over the woman on the bed. One covered the woman's dignity. Some time later, after many of the other sisters had left, Katira was alone. She held the small girl on her lap. She rocked the chair gently. "It'll be all right, little one. Mama's just resting." The words felt wrong, as I don't know what I was trying to say there. It's fine. I think I had two visions of the story, but anyway. She caressed the little girl's hair. The sound of horses sounded from down the street. The child, the girl she saw crying before. The child, the girl now at her chest, whimpered softly. Katira shushed her. "It'll be all right. We'll figure this out." I think what I was trying to imply is that the mother died, and I didn't do that very effectively yet. Anyway, trying to set up the birth scene, trying to set up she's a midwife, she's helping. That was all very fast paced. We're going to go in and have to flesh some more stuff out.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of
what you're
afraid of to get the engine started.
What you are afraid of happening is not happening. I definitely feel like you're telling the story instead of just doing but like you were worried about, right?
Okay.
Like action,
good.
action. You're giving thoughts, you're giving internal dialogue, you're giving the feel of the situation. I feel like I'm reading this, watching this, experiencing this, not having a bunch of facts thrown at me, which sounds like what you were worried about. So obviously you were critical enough. Everything you know you need to tighten it up. But like, I'm not hearing anything that you're not noticing. Everything is sounding like the story. It sounds like a story that it sounds like how this story should sound as far as I'm concerned. So.
Okay, good. I mean, is it happening too fast?
I don't think so. I don't have enough context fully to say that, but it doesn't sound fast to me. Like, I don't know what percentage this is of the entire narrative. But as far as a scene, it doesn't seem too fast at all. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I get you. Because I've been watching so many medical dramas, and I just keep going. Like, whenever they're in the thick of it, in the moment, a lot of those things happen within a matter of not like hours, but minutes. Like,
yes,
each minute, boom, 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 boom. And the tempo is just intense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the area is not clean, if you're not doing this right, then she goes into shock. She dies.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think it's appropriately paced. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't know. I don't think I'm trying to figure out anything. I'm trying to talk myself into not continuing to write or something.
Well, you can always make it better. You can literally go and be like, and then they went to McDonald's, whatever. And like, if it moves the plot along to where you actually get something done, then you can come back and say, no, it wasn't McDonald's, it was this. And,
right.
Like, it's not.
Okay.
Except don't literally say, except they didn't go to McDonald's in the actual text, obviously. Oh, boy.
I guess whenever I said the three sisters hovered over the woman on the bed. Oh, goodness, I'm trying to figure out how to very effectively say that she's dead.
Uh-huh.
I think that's
go back to that spot.
Okay.
And go back to that spot and read that spot.
Okay. So Katira begins walking towards the curtain quickly, then suddenly the screams stop and no cries followed. Then long pause. Katira fell to her knees, and then that should be a longer pause of recognition there. It's silent. And then breaking through the silence, it's a boy! And then the baby's crying. That's it.
You need a sentence that says, what's the name of the person who dies?
I'd never really named her because she wasn't integral.
Okay, I'm just going to throw a ridiculous name out there for the sake of argument for this, okay? Or you could say, actually, no, let's just say the lady. The lady would not be needing Katira any longer.
Ooh.
Right?
Yes. Okay.
That needs to be one of your linchpin sentences within this sequence of events, right? It needs to be the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where to fit that. Yeah, I get you.
It's the moment where Katira breaks
from the floor. She shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
She shooed him away, retrieved a small vial. Then there was a small child in the corner. A woman was trying to console her. Then Katira spun around as she passed the threshold of the door. So enters door, sees off to your side commotion, dog, shoo, get away, child crying, spins, faces hallway, cries suddenly stop, and then that's when like tunnel vision sets in, and she's okay.
Right. She drops and cries, you said, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you could say that it was at that point she knew the lady would not be needing her services any longer. She had and then realign her focus. She now had one patient instead of two. You know.
Ooh, yes, love this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I needed. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That first line. I'm tired. I need a coffee.
It's okay. She knew the lady would no longer be needing her services. Something like that.
Okay. No longer. Okay. Need her services. Okay. All right. I want her to have this almost morbid sense of, like my grandmother. The way she just kind of had to find something to chuckle at. I don't know if in that moment it works, but anyway, that doesn't work. Levity doesn't necessarily work here, and it's not needed.
Right. You want to go from tunnel vision to tunnel vision, basically, at this point, right? This is like, okay, they broke. This is the Lord of the Rings equivalent of they broken through the second wall. Drums in the deep, right? Like,
oh man, that's funny.
But that's what it is, right? It's like we've lost that section.
Yeah.
Now it's just us and the baby. Like this is the last shot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The game was tied, and now they hit a grand slam, and we only have one inning after this. We have to shut them down. You know.
Okay. Yeah. So at the end of the hallway, a curtain had been raised for the mother's privacy. Katir began walking toward the curtain quickly. Then suddenly, the screams stopped, and no cries followed. The lady would no longer be in need of her services.
There it is.
Yes.
That's it.
The lady would no longer be in need of her services. And then
or just maybe just
paragraph.
Service instead of services. Just service. Makes it seem slightly more intimate, I think, but that's my thought. Rather than services, right?
Would no longer be in need of her service. Would no longer be in need of her services.
You can choose, but I think service sounds better.
Since we're in the editing phase, I'll do the bracket.
Yeah, do the bracket with the
bracket
S, yeah.
S.
Or E, yeah, bracket S, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Katir fell to her knees. It goes too quickly from she fell to her knees and then she rose to her feet.
In that case, you need to talk about what's going on while she's dealing with the problem. There are two routes. You can go what's going on with her internally in grotesque detail, like internally, and focus inward, or you can focus on what's going on in the room, how silent it really is, or how the baby is the only thing you can hear, whatever it is, right? And how every ounce of energy in the room is just completely drained, like, you know, and mundane things like a fly buzzes on the windowsill, you know, things of that nature, right? That just sink you into the moment. Yeah.
I had this little thing that I just thought of. Okay, so the lady would no longer be in need of her service. I like services. Anyway,
That's fine.
the lady would no longer be in need of her service. Katira fell to her knees, and then inner monologue. Only one person to care for now. The child needs me.
Yeah.
She thought even before her ears, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, the thought comes to her.
She thought this even before she began to feel the grief, before her knees ever hit the floor, et cetera, right? Like, this, in one sense...
It's her intuition.
Yeah.
It's that feminine intuition of, like, there's still hope here. There is still life here. I don't feel it, but something told me that there's something to still fight for here.
Well, this is the two things rose up within her at once, right? You have the immediate grief, and you have the I still have one thing left to do, and I can't leave it undone. And so if you're dealing with the internal side of things, I would phrase it that way. Two things immediately rose up at war within her. One was the grief, and then the other was saving the baby. And they were at odds with each other, and they pulled at her consciousness one direction and another. She took a second to mourn, but got immediately up, blah, 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 blah. You can go that way. You can also do the other thing, like I said, and focus on the outward quiet moment of her grief, to let the time pass and realize, like, this noble woman, whoever she was, you know, et cetera, like, there was significance to her, and you just let that breathe and let that speak for the time passage of Katira, the time passage you need for Katira to get back up. Right? Those are the two ways to kind of go about it, the internal versus the external. I think the external is actually more subtle in this case, but if you have something you really want to drive home about Katira, you want to go with the inward route, like you were suggesting.
My head's spinning with different options.
Well, just put in a note here, because you're going to have to go in a minute, more than likely. Internal versus external. And then ask Joshua. If I forget what this is, ask Joshua.
I'm just going to have to put that note in. Ask Joshua.
Internal versus external. And the other thing is, you can write two versions and then decide which one you like better. You know?
Right.
It's literally
I definitely want to do more
paragraph,
like,
you know?
I definitely want to do more here with, like, she saw this thing, she heard this thing, felt this thing, smelt this thing, ingrain it in with those, like, physiological things.
Right.
But Katira fell to her knees, only one person to care for now. The child needs me. Two things arose within her at once, grief, and something quieter and still. Something she could not quite name. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then she rose to her feet, making her way to the curtain. I say slowly too many times there. Slowly she rose to her feet, making her way to the curtain with almost like she's just muscle memory walking, and I can't quite, like, something deep within her still has hope, and she's not willing to let that die out yet.
Right.
So I want to showcase, like, the grief of what just happened and the loss just hit her, sending her to her knees but show that internal, like, she's not lifting anything physically heavy, but, like, she is lifting something extremely heavy at the same time.
Yeah.
And I almost want her to, like, look back at the child crying behind her and almost understand, in a sense of, the child knows what it just lost.
Right.
And just that playing in her mind.
Or even just she wonders if the child knows what.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
See, you know what you're doing. It just takes time.
It does. So, I know the next thing I want to happen after this. I think I want to have some more levity, or not necessarily levity, just something a little brighter. Because baby, or some people just died. Now it's time to show the other side of it. I think maybe do her going from house to house, showing her in different settings. So like she helped this mother. She died unfortunately, so she tends to the children while the sisters go retrieve aid and then take care of the sisters, take care of the children, and now Katira is being called elsewhere to go serve somewhere else. And it should be like a younger family, and it's very hopeful and very pleasant. Very nice and sweet. And then once she leaves there, on the road to her next appointment, I don't know if the ratio is making sense. Maybe just I'll have to look at historical stuff to see how many she'd be helping out with per day.
So, in regard to that, one of the easiest ways in this situation you can have a moment of levity while it still kind of be part of the job and or like frustratingly funny would be she lifted the baby, her heart full of grief, etc., and before she could swaddle the baby, it peed all over her. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because babies are babies. They don't like, yeah. So like, there's things that you can do like that if you really feel like you want a moment of levity. You can do that in a funny way. You know?
I mean, I like the. I have this one line in here about just kind of towards the middle. She's fainted! A woman screamed from the other side of the door. Katira barely stopped herself from tripping before pushing the door open. And then in a moment, she was overwhelmed by the scent of herbs, blood, and many other things she respectfully ignored. It's not like ha funny, but it's
yeah.
She respectfully ignored a lot of things that are happening in here that were just kind of very.
Katira is not a lighthearted person.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have levity, it's going to have to come from outside of her. It's not that she's a stoic or someone super serious. It's just that she's not someone who's going to lighten a mood. Right?
I almost want Alex and Debbie, because I haven't gotten a chance to really talk with them in a little bit, but Debbie's level of sass, I think, would be kind of fun. Yeah. Because I know they have a child right now, so I'm envisioning Katira almost as, what would Katira interacting with Debbie be like?
Yeah.
And that could be a fun dynamic for like the second one to be a bit more lighthearted, and Katira is trying to like juggle, like I just experienced,
but like if it's
like
Debbie, it's going to be.
But
if it's like Debbie, it's going to be almost like a morbid sassiness. Like she could actually lean into the death and be like silly about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could be really
I think
funny.
We'll show. We gotta have that side of it, because like my grandmother, she would come home after who knows what, helping out at the hospital. She'd eat these. We'd be eating spaghetti. And then she'd like mash a meatball, and it's like, yeah, and that guy looked like this.
Mm-hmm.
And she would do stuff like that, and our guests would be mortified, and I would just be just cackling away because it was amazing. Such a great way to cope with it is just like it can't be that serious. If it's that serious, I'm gonna lose my mind. But yeah, so I think that could show good. Yes. So she'll go from here, send the child away. A very heartbreaking moment of like, I don't want to let her go, but I must.
Right.
So it can go help elsewhere. Goes help this other family. Probably has some really sassy banter with this woman. There might be like a moment of hesitation. She's trying to like guide the new mother through like some breathing exercise or whatever. And then she says something kind of crass. Katir pauses for a moment and replies with something, kind of bringing it up a notch in a way that she didn't expect. And yeah, I need to write that scene now. And then on her way home after that, she's approached by some folks and then gets her call to adventure.
Yeah.
Is where I want to end it.
You too can be a part of Poets at War and the Brood. Just visit joshuadavidling.com/discord to join. We want you, soldier, to be part of the Poets at War family. For more information, visit joshuadavidling.com. Over and out.
God of songs said